Welcome everyone to this edition of the Regal Life series, where we enable coaches to be the best that they can be. Today, I have the privilege to have with us directors of membership and director of member experience. So, Bhavani is from the ICF Bangalore chapter, Shruti is from the ICF Hyderabad chapter, and JL is from ICF Chennai chapter. It's a proud moment for us also because all three of them are our PCC alumni. And dear viewers, just to let you know, Shruti's camera is off because she is in transit to Hyderabad. Yet she has taken some time out to be here with us. Thank you, Bhavani, JL, and Shruti for being present with us today.
Thank you, Anirudh.
A
Thank you.
pleasure.
So, to start the conversation, I would ask you, JL, um, when we already have ICF as a global body, what is the intention of the existence of ICF local chapters?
I think for me, I think it gets much closer to the reality, ground reality, right? So ICF Global across regions, they have a different approach. But I think the local chapter meets the requirements. They know the ground reality of what's happening in the coaching industry. And then there are specific sessions and inputs that we get where there is also an opportunity to collaborate more in the coaches community as well, right? So that's what I see as something which is kind of a driving factor. And I think the other aspect which my perspective is that the credentialed coaches are in fewer numbers outside. I think if you talk about the word coaches, there are multiple self-styled coaches and different ways people call themselves as. So as ICF certified credentialed coaches, it's a great opportunity to be part of the local chapter, so where you get to know what's happening really, and there are opportunities to collaborate and grow together. I think that's what my perspective is on this.
Bhavani, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I definitely share JL's thoughts on this. I also feel, why do we take up, an additional local chapter? It's because, while you are part of a global group, um, some of the chapters do charge for a local membership only because to really serve our members we need what we get from global may not be enough to really service our members to the way that they need to be serviced as well. So when you take up a local membership, you are actually giving back in some sense to the community and the profession that you're part of, and allowing us to give you a variety of services from learning to everything else that we do, right? Meetups, etc. The whole ecosystem that supports a coach can only happen with the localization of such chapters.
So that's brilliant. Jail talks about localization. You mentioned about the sense of community that also giving back to the profession. That's a brilliant insight. Shruti, what do you think? What is your perspective?
Um, Completely in line with the thought that is being shared, right, from both JL and Bhavani. I also want to add on that the local membership does give focused attention to some personal goals as well. As much as we are part of a larger community, whether it's and I think this is a transferable thought as well. In many fields, we are part of global communities, but we also cater to a smaller notion, right? To whether it's in touch with ground reality or getting networking opportunities, giving back to the society. A lot of professional development can also have some focused attention. And we've experienced how smaller groups can get a lot more attention and value. Again, the definition of value may differ, something for a member to look at, but there is so much to take away from knowing the vicinity where we sit in. So, whatever city you're in, whatever is your closest chapter, if you could get access to that, then you're also getting access to a lot of people who are probably in line with your personal goals as well, or who can even be enablers to your personal growth, which on a larger chapter you probably don't have access to as many people as part of a global community. I think that's also an added advantage that I've noticed some people call out.
So I think because being an entrepreneur, being a coach can be also a tiring, lonely journey. So this sense of community does help. And Bhavani, we were talking in the studio. that ICF has elevated coaching to the level of a profession. Of course, JL is a chartered accountant, so he's got CA as a professional body to compare it with. So, JL, don't you think ICF has also elevated the word coach, as you're mentioning, to a level of a profession?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think efforts are being taken to familiarize coaching. So that's kind of happening. Probably I think the demand and supply matching that is where the challenge is, right? And also it's not like other professions where you mentioned about CA. Accounting is kind of a lifeline for any organization. So there is a need for an accountant or a finance function, right? So whereas coaching is kind of, it's a softer aspect. So what's the kind of investment which is needed for the individual to grow themselves? So it's very tricky uh, position to be in, right? So how do you make people understand that there is a need, right? So that's where I think a lot of focus is being taken at the global level as well as at the chapter level. I think that's how that's what we are looking at. How can we grow in a collaborative manner? So that's kind of the focus. And I think Bhavani mentioned about community, right? So the focus is also on giving back to the society. So there are certain engagements that we do on a pro bono basis. It's kind of driven by the chapter and in collaboration with ICF Global. So to do all of those things, again, coming back to why do we need a local chapter? ICF Global can't see where is the need. If there is an organization in India, they do not know if there is a need for that organization to go and serve. So the local chapters do that role of making sure that they identify where the need is and then make sure that creates an opportunity for the coaches to go and serve them. So it's kind of a platform where the coaches are able to go, even if they want to give back to society. There has to be an avenue, right? So the chapters create that sort of an avenue. The local chapters play a big role in that. Similarly, I think with corporates, I think I'm just taking an example of what happened. The Chennai chapter, we hosted the Corporate Coaches Connect last month, right? So it's an event where we're trying to bring the corporate and the coaches together to see, again, to create more awareness in terms of coaching and what can collaboratively we do, not just within the coaches community, but extending beyond. How can we help corporates to serve or help them serve what they want to look to grow themselves into, right? So I think this kind of some of the efforts which are taken. So long answer, but I hope it answers.
No, it captures the emotion beautifully that as individual coaches, there's only so much we can do. But as the chapter, I mean, at Bangalore chapter also, Bhavani is leading a lot of initiatives along with our other MC members with the Corporate Connect and tying up with universities. And of course, ICF Chennai chapter also did a brilliant recent collaboration with IIT Madras. So having that collective force helps us make a better impact. So Bhavani, to continue the same line, JL mentioned some time back that most of the coaches are self-styled coaches, and then you have credentialed coaches. But this is a question I'm sure, being a director of membership, you would have faced a lot. Is being credentialed not enough?
As opposed to now becoming part of the chapter as well?
No,
To your question.
now the question is, why do I need to be a global member if being credentialed is enough?
Right.
Because they say,
So,
let me just clarify, because clients don't ask. I think the most common statement is clients don't ask if I'm a global member or not. So
very
is
true.
being
Absolutely
credentialed?
agree. Yeah, I got your point. So, I think we all want to elevate our, as you said, it's a growing profession, and we all want to elevate ourselves. And so, credentialing is essential to really, demonstrate your competency. But there's much more, right? I mean, credentialing is a point in time, but coaching is, being a great coach is a continuous journey. And as you said, it's also sometimes a very lonely journey. And I think being a global member and then also being a local member gives you the ability to connect to all the, how do we know what's happening in the global coaching profession unless you're connected to a body that is spending day in day out finding out that for you, right? And the amount of research that the global body does and the local chapters are getting into to find out about the profession. So that's one reason why you definitely need to be connected and plugged into the global body. I think the other thing is, and those who have been credentialed and renew their credentials know that you have continuous education in coaching is essential, which means, where do you find that continuous feed of learning, that unless, and the local chapters are doing a fantastic job in giving that drip feed of continuous learning in almost all forms, physical form, virtual form, and bringing speakers from across the world accessible to our local chapter members. And I think that's an essential element. And I was just thinking 40 credits we need to learn to get in 3 years. It's not that easy if you step back and think about it, as as being busy coaches. So when you tap into a system that is doing it for you, and you just have to turn up and attend those events and collect your units, I think that's another very important element. And I think the third part, which I wanted to just talk about, why being credentialed is not enough. When we are in this journey as a coach, we are encountering many new challenges, whether it's developing your business, whether it's an ethical dilemma in coaching. Where do you turn to when you want to get some insights and wisdom from those who have done it, or even giving back and pulling those who are new to the profession along? And the chapters offer this great place of just sharing what you're feeling, talking to people. And I recently had an experience of where I felt really bad about a session I had. I felt like it didn't go the way I wanted, and I went to one of our coaching mentoring sessions, and it was just a walk in Cubbon Park, and I came back with a sense of forgiveness for myself, because when you hear every other coach talking about what they've been through, you get the answer almost just by being present. And I think that's priceless. So to answer your question, why being credentialed is not enough, it's a journey.
And an interesting point that you made about continuous coaching education, all of the CCEUs, the units that the chapters give, it's almost always free. So you can get
Yes,
quality CCUs at no cost.
precisely.
So, Shruti, when someone makes the same observation to you, Bhavani shared her thoughts about it. How do you approach this question when someone tells us being credentialed is enough?
I think there is a huge strength in community. The only uh, thing on the beautiful thought of Bhavani that I'd add on is that as coaches, there are a lot of unknowns that we walk into far too many times, whether it be conversations, whether it be business aspects, whether it be contract negotiation. As long as we're dealing with people, there will be unknowns. This is something that we continuously learn about. Now, when there are unknowns, there are aspects of taking risk as well, to do or not to do, right? And when these kind of questions come up and when we want to make choices like that, the risk appetite is higher when you have people to lean on. I always go back uh, to the experience of when we were children, or I can at least talk for myself. We would take the risk of jumping off the 4th step in the staircase, or the 6th step. Let me just lunge and see what comes up from when I jump from the 10th step. Why is that? Because we know dad's going to look after me, my mom's going to come running, my brother's going to take care. So you've got people that you can lean on. As we grow older, we become hyper independent, and we think I've got to do it all, I've got to be it all. And as a coaching journey, leaning on the strength that we have improves our risk appetite to becoming the best version of ourselves, as much as we want to be good coaches as well. So, as much as we are helping other people evolve, our self evolution needs to have that kind of investment. So, there's such strength in togetherness. And that togetherness strength is what I'd always call out being part of a community. Hyderabad chapter has been able to partner with the GMR Foundation for ensuring a great partnership on understanding how the students can have larger goals in life. We worked with IIT Hyderabad. We continue to work with educational institutions to understand how the students can lean on the best support systems that they have. And if nothing else, then I'd invite everyone to look at this chapter membership to be a support system of kinds that you can lean on, a safe space for you to learn, to grow, to understand, and to maybe healthily compete as well. It's not a wrong thing. There's a lot of coaches, to JL's point, and maybe it's a good thing to have a healthy competition, partnership, know what we're good at, what we're not good at. But yeah, these are my thoughts at least on it.
Shruti, you just brought in certain depth to this conversation. I'm so glad you're such a good panel today because JL also I know is someone who's deeply spiritual. Bhavani also I know is who looks at coaching as a transformational tool, and Shruti, of course, you also bring a lot of presence into coaching. So this naturally helps me to move to the topic today, the role of the local membership in succeeding as a coach. So, Jail, if you could quickly just talk about membership as a global member, right? And then tie it down to why do we need local membership?
See, I think global membership, it's more of expanding your thinking. To me, I think I would put it this way. I think I was just also reflecting when Shruti was speaking. It's about playing big versus playing small, right? So if you are willing to be a coach and if you want to play big, take all the resources and support you have. To me, I think the chapters and the ICF Global is kind of a resource that's available for us to for coaches to make use of. So it's not about the money. Money, obviously, we need to shell out. But if you keep that aside for a moment, what is that? What is the kind of opportunity that gets created for me, right? So if I'm becoming a member, a global member as well as a chapter member, then I also become eligible to contribute by being part of the leadership team, right? So that's one way to express yourself, and it shows the growth mindset of the individuals, right? So it's kind of a stepping stone. Membership gives you that stepping stone to reach and express yourself and grow. So it's all about playing big. That's how I would look at it. Then ICF Global, it extends beyond that. So ICF Global is not going to consider any candidature unless somebody has shown their leadership qualities, demonstrated that at a chapter level. Then you get recognized at the global level, right? It's a kind of a step-by-step process. It's all about, do you want to play big or do you want to play small? And to add on to that, each one of us had or have or had our own professions. So we didn't come directly into coaching, right? So coaching was a calling, and then we came into that. So obviously, then what makes us to grow further? How do you want to approach this? It's kind of it tells me the kind of mindset that an individual must have. So these are my perspectives.
That's again a new dimension. That aim for ICF Global. That I didn't even think of that as a possibility until you brought it up. Thank you for that. Bhavani, we were conversing last week and you made a statement that I don't think members are fully aware, even existing members not fully aware of all that the chapter has to offer.
Yeah.
So could you quickly just take us through what are the benefits, right? I'll let each one speak. Spend some time. This is your slot. What benefits does ICF Bangalore chapter offer to its members?
Certainly. Thank you, Anirudh. So I think, I was just looking back, just preparing for this call. I think we run about 16 initiatives in the Bangalore chapter, right? And, under the learning umbrella, we have at least 4 to 5 sessions a month, and that's plenty of learning units. We have them under the communities of practice. We bring speakers from across the world. I mean, it's fascinating when we come to some of these topics and we see. So that's one element of learning. And the other thing we do is also very intimate, personalized mentoring conversations that we have. And we have some fantastic leaders who help mentor, and those are difficult. I mean, being a coach is not easy. So sometimes you need to talk, and the chapter gives you that avenue. And business development, every coach's struggle zone, I see somewhere. How to develop your business. It's a new plunge into entrepreneurship. So the chapter offers support even in that space. The other element I would talk about is under the members support. Right now, what is member support? We have credentialing support. How do you help walk you through the process of getting credentialed? So we have that kind of support. We love meeting people, don't we? I mean, so why local, for example, is for me, that connect, that meeting, that shake of hand, that hug that you get when you meet your fellow coaches, it's irreplaceable. So for me, that element is essential. And we have, Bangalore is so big, we have 5 hubs. Each hub is so active. I mean, it's like almost now becoming this local competition of which hub is more active than the other, which is wonderful, right? And so there's so much to meet. So many times we get to meet each other. And then of course we have our more structured membership meets. And for me, a personal experience. I met a coach a few years ago, and that person became my peer coach to help me with my recording, because the connection was so strong that you can't replace the chemistry of meeting a person in a coach in person. So I think that's the other element. Another quick umbrella I want to talk about is the connects, right? So we have the corporate connect. Advocacy is an essential part of the chapter's work. We were talking, JL mentioned earlier about, is there enough supply and demand? I think it's incumbent upon us as coaches to create the demand through advocacy. And the chapter is a brilliantly placed platform to create that advocacy. But we need strength in numbers to show the people who buy coaching services, the HR professionals, the OD professionals, that hey, this is a chapter and it's a big chapter. There are lots of coaches behind this profession. I think that's another reason. If you want to grow your profession, you need to be behind the profession as well. And that's what the local chapter is all about. And then giving back. We have some fantastic Ignite projects almost in every chapter across the country. And Ignite is basically, going back to the NGOs, working with them. And that's another form of connection. So student connect, NGO connect, corporate connect, advocacy. All of these are the things that the chapter does. And finally, I think, we have book clubs, we have magazines and blog channels and all of these things. We just have something called Chai Pe Charcha. Just drop in for a cup of tea, virtual cup of tea, just to talk. I mean, these are the things that the coaches need. And the chapters, thought about almost every angle. And I think that's what makes local global. I think we've seen that word floating about, right? So there's so much to tap into global and so much to tap into local. And I love the word local. Subhash, thank you. I've seen that coming up in the comments. I think that's a brilliant way of putting why we need to be part of this.
I saw Jail also smile when you mentioned chai.
Well, India runs on tea, right? So, or chai. So I think, the coaches are no different.
So for those who are not natives of Hindi, who are not Hindi speaking, chai pe charcha means conversation over a cup of tea. So I'm actually glad that directors of membership and member experience, all of you are part of other professional bodies. Like Shruti is an agile coach, Bhavani is with ACCA, JL is with ICAI. So you are in the right place at the right time to elevate these local chapters also to a professional status. Shruti, over to you. Could you tell us a little bit about how ICF Hyderabad chapter, what are the benefits the chapter offers and how the chapters are impacting in Hyderabad?
I like that Bhavani called out there's this kind of a competition between chapters that's going on. And it's a very friendly one, right? I might call out. Hyderabad as a chapter has evolved over time. And I do want to send out a huge shout out, a huge thank you to the people who have continued to make sure this chapter survived through some hardships. And in today's date, we are extremely thankful for the members that are trusting. In the last couple of months, we've had quite a few meetups, such valuable insights. And just adding on to what Bhavani was saying, as part of the learning and events, making sure that there are people who are able to turn up to these events, learn a few things, have some activities, workshops. This is an access ability to all the members of the chapter, right? So there are a few open events also that we have that are extended, but especially when it talks about membership, this is a very huge aspect. Hyderabad as a chapter also has affiliate membership. So we are exploring this new opportunity. So if there are people who are not part of the global membership, but do intend to pursue being a part of the local chapter, we provide an option called affiliate membership as well. And again, you being a coaching enthusiast with maybe probably some coach training experience or a past membership experience that you've had, you're free to join along the journey, help grow the chapter as much as possible. Some of the other things also are community and corporate services that we provide. We just have one event tomorrow. We are always providing opportunity to the local chapter members to be a part of one-on-one coaching opportunities, especially one that invites multiple coaches. So if there is any requirement, sometimes when we need 30 coaches to coach, say, for an institution, the first people we reach out to are the local chapters, local chapter members, and that's a great opportunity on its own, right? If you're a solo coach working in silo, trying to talk about the strength of community, it kind of contradicts the value that we want to put out there as well. So that's another thing. And also, there's a lot of content contribution that we are willing to receive from members, whether it's about blogs, whether it's about if you'd like to share your thoughts, if you want to post something on a chapter. The other thing is also there is a huge benefit of knowing who you can choose. You know, voting is such a huge aspect of being a part of something. So if you are an ICF chapter member, you have the eligibility to vote during the AGM. You can choose who do you want as board of directors. That choice is extremely valuable, and we want to provide that value to all members of the chapter as well. Now, whether it's promotions, whether it's get featured on LinkedIn, these are all again visible changes that you can be a part of as part of the membership. But yeah, a few things to call out. Again, leaning on the strength of togetherness. There's no substitute for it at all. I definitely feel there's no substitute of physical meetups, but also if it's a virtual and that's the next best thing, reach out to a local member. They'd be more than happy to make the time. All of us are very busy souls, but if we can just make the time, and we always find time for what is valuable to us, right? And what is valuable to you? Can you take the value from all the beautiful things that all the chapters are providing? A question to ask.
Thank you for adding to what Bhavani mentioned so beautifully, Shruti. Healthy competition and the way the chapter is helping individual coaches also to put the word out there, that sense of community. And JL, now the stage is yours. Everyone knows what you're supposed to say, yet you have to say something differently. As the, so, over to you.
Yeah, being part of Chennai chapter, I think it's easier to say because there have been a lot of initiatives. I mean, I'm associated only for the past 2 years, but I think it's been a vibrant chapter as such. A lot of new initiatives, and I was just listing down some of the few which I thought I will highlight. One is I think L&D is obviously which is quite common across the chapters. So that's been quite regular. Every month we have the L&D sessions happening. So then we had recently concluded the reciprocal coaching program. So it was conducted as, I mean, there were some 25, 26 pairs of coaches, and then we had about 5 mentors who also gave valuable inputs as part of that program. So that was quite well received. So it's kind of an initiative where people also get mentored, and that Bhavani also mentioned about that, right? So, and community, obviously, I think that's there. IIT Madras and then Ignite. Through Ignite, we are also reaching out to NGOs to offer the support. Annually, in-person meet happens. That's that's been happening quite regularly. Even when during COVID hit, I think there was a virtual in-person, rather, sorry, virtual meet happened during at that point in time to make sure that there is continuity. So that's one thing which regularly happens, and then a couple of other new. I mean, I'm taking little time, but I just wanted to make sure that I communicate all these aspects. So there is a blog within the ICF Chennai chapter website. We also have a space for blogs, so where the members and associates can write blogs on coaching and anything that they want to express themselves. There is an opportunity for them to do that. And recently, we also introduced a program called Coachability, so where it's a new program, and the idea is that there are a lot of tools and techniques available with the coaches across the spectrum. So how do we make sure that we create a platform for them to come and share and do it more like a on hands training rather than just come and deliver some session and then go? How do we make sure that we work together, and then it also creates an opportunity for the coaches to present the best practices so that it can be used by others as well. So we had one session, recently launched, and some new sessions are coming up in the future. Then chapter ambassador program is again something which was introduced last year. So it's a kind of leadership pipeline that's being built. So this is kind of the second level, second layer, I would say, under the board. So where they take in separate specific projects along with the with one of the directors and run it with along with the director to get specific results. And importantly, I think it's kind of helps the chapter to identify the talent that's available, people who are interested to volunteer and then offer themselves and to give the service to the chapter. And Learning Sundays is something which again been happening for almost 4 years now. So where question gets put on the community WhatsApp, and then a lot of interaction happens through that. So kind of informational as well as way to interact with the community. So these are some of the specific initiatives over and above what Shruti and Bhavani had mentioned.
Thank you all for sharing your thoughts. When we started, I thought half an hour is too much time to uh, converse, but then I see even half an hour is too less to see what the chapters really have to offer. I would also like to add that our mentor and our founder CEO, Mr. Subhash, he always in every batch he mentions, don't ask what ICF can do for you, ask what you can do for ICF. And I think to see the way the three of you are contributing, and all of our coaches show up in a membership, their meets, and as ambassadors, even Bangalore chapter now has a vibrant ambassadors initiative. Even Chennai chapter has a vibrant ambassadors initiative. Hyderabad also has withstood turbulent times. So if you show up, dear coaches and leaders who are looking at becoming coaches, local chapters are the best place to be. So thank you, Bhavani. Thank you, Jaya. Thank you, Shruti, for taking your time out. And at such short notice, we could get all three of you together. And we would like to further talk in the future to see how we can partner to introduce more members to the local chapters. Thank you for your time. Dear viewers, see you next Thursday from 9 to 9:20 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Thank you all.
Thank you.